power. Isn't it amazing to have control over other human beings? These are true traitors to America, all of these tech companies. They're traitors. I've never used the term. We're running out of terms. They're traitors to the American vision of freedom, and freedom begins with free speech. There is no freedom, in my opinion, greater than free speech. That is what makes us human, the ability to express ourselves. It always comes with the downside of some awful and disgusting speech. That is correct. Do you know anything that doesn't come with a downside? Is there anything? You might as well ban marriage because there's spouse abuse. Well, I think the analogy is as perfect as you can get. Look at all the spousal abuse. Let's ban marriage. The fact that things come with abuse, do you understand how immature these people, as I've said, the left never grew up. Leftists are not mature. They have childlike visions of the world. Oh, bad things were said. Then none of you can speak. There you go. But no, bad things are not said on our side. No, not at all. America is a racist, xenophobic, misogynist country. You know how many flags were burned at demonstrations and riots this summer? But doesn't mean a damn thing to the left. Nothing. Whole communities burned down. Downtown of almost every major city. In some cases, parts taken over. I was able until last week to say only the left riots. And then these people, staggering foolishness, didn't enable me to say that anymore. I will say this, though, and say this only with regret and with no defense. You may see more of this. When you stop people from being able to express themselves civilly, they will not go away. 100 million Americans will not disappear. The left would like us to disappear. But when you can't express yourself civilly, some people will express themselves uncivilly. Why is that not obvious? The Democrats want to unify the country. Let's impeach a president with how many days left? 10 days left. It's mind-boggling. The hatred of this man is the most irrational outburst, an organized outburst I have ever seen in a long life in the United States of America. I understand disliking him. I understand being disgusted if you're on the left by him and his policies. But this hatred and holding him responsible. Oh, if it weren't for him, 300,000 Americans wouldn't die. You know how often I see that in comments and statements from people on the left? Amazing, huh? Because they're not dying in countries where the left is in charge. It's an amazing phenomenon. Yeah. Anonymous in Ontario, Canada, which is, if anything, worse than the United States, though it's neck and neck, I think. Hi.
Hi. Thanks for having me on, Dennis. My question is, what recourse do we have at this point? Because we are, especially here in Canada, in Ontario specifically, we are seeing a tyranny like never before, and there's speculation that tomorrow they're going to institute a curfew. So we're locked in our homes. We can't associate with people. We can't go out. We can't socialize. We can't see our families and friends. The only outlet we have to the outside world, so we don't go literally insane, is social media. And now they're coming down on that as well. So
that's right.
Like, I'm a Christian, and my faith is important to me, and it helps me during these times. But there's also human needs as well.
That's right.
Like, what do we do at this point?
Okay, stay on with me. And by the way, tell me when we come back why you went on as anonymous, since you're anonymous anyway. I'm very curious. Because we didn't really have a left in power. We had liberals in power. Liberals did not suppress free speech. Conservatives do not, but the left always does. Just remember that. Now unfortunately, you're seeing what I have warned about the left all of my broadcast and writing life. The left is vile. The left wants to destroy everything that it touches, and it does destroy everything. So I spoke about the destruction of the universities, the high schools, the elementary schools, mainstream Christianity, mainstream Protestantism, Catholicism, mainstream Judaism, and sports, and late-night comedy, and, of course, the arts. And now, the great victory. They're destroying the United States of America. If you don't see that, then you are a leftist. Or you might be a naive liberal, which is almost redundant. That liberals are not repulsed by the left, but they still think the right is their enemy, shows you how deep the brainwash is. There are some liberals, like Jonathan Turley, and a lawyer, teaches George Washington. We should have him on, even though he attacked me quite severely many years ago in a piece. I don't care. America's more important than me. And so I would like to have him on. There are some liberals who understand what is happening, that the enemy of liberalism is leftism. Parlors shut down. The monopoly on thought expression in the United States by big tech might have been undone by the state, by the government, but now it won't be because the Senate has gone into the hands of the Democrats. I warned about that. I said Georgia was the issue more than vote fraud. The president needed to speak about Georgia. Georgia, Georgia, and Georgia. He was obsessed with the vote count issue. I understand that. He truly believes, and I believe that it is not irrational. I have not said that there was fraud. I have not said that there was not fraud. The circumstantial evidence is powerful. The number of anomalies that took place, if indeed he lost. But I have a question that is fascinating to me about how the responses that I get in emails. Is there any moral barrier to a leftist, to a Democrat, for cheating if they're in a vote counting position? In other words, is there a voice in them that would say this is morally wrong? And I am certain that for the vast majority, morality would dictate cheating. If you could prevent a person you believe is a dictator, a fascist, a white supremacist, often a Nazi, if you could prevent that person from gaining power by cheating, you are morally bound to cheat. We don't believe that, so it's one of the reasons we don't cheat. The self-righteousness of the left is 100%. What we believe is right, therefore all methods of achieving what we want are acceptable. So why did you come on as anonymous? I wanted to ask you that.
Well, I work in law enforcement, and God forbid a government employee would have an independent thought.
That's right. That is correct, yes.
I'd lose my job.
Right. So the answer, or an answer to your question, what can you do, given that now the lockdown will even be more complete in Ontario? Will it be in Ontario or all the provinces?
It's in all the provinces, but we're going to get a curfew in addition to the lockdown now.
So, again, why did you... okay, now I know why you're anonymous. It makes perfect sense. You're in law enforcement and you cannot think independently or express yourself independently. I'm just curious, why would... is Alberta run by a leftist or a conservative?
They're run by conservatives, but they've been under so much heat from the media that they've had to do a lockdown too. They're the last ones that instituted it because of the pressure.
That's it. That's right. That you have it very clear. The only thing people could do in your country and in mine is disobey it. People have to get out of their homes. They have to meet with others. You can't arrest millions of people. The supine response of the public in Canada, the U.S., the U.K., Australia, interestingly, the English-speaking countries, has been depressing. So I stay in touch with me. I feel for you. I feel for all of us. I'm sorry, Howard. Back to you in Chicago. Thank you.
No problem, Dennis. So over this past Shabbos, I happened to be at two different large Orthodox synagogues, and both rabbis, who are wonderful people, gave speeches that had to do with how we have to be civil, we have to argue, civilly, that you can't. What happened in Washington was disgusting. We all have to agree on that, and they all have to be condemned with the president who was wrong. They had Zoom links after Shabbos that had to deal with this. Some rabbis even had special Tehillim hours scheduled in order to say it for this. And I wrote my rabbi afterwards, and I said, you know what, I agree with everything that you said. Where were you 6 months ago? Why didn't you say
What did he say? What did he say?
The Supreme Court. So he actually stopped by in the synagogue yesterday.
All right, you'll tell me when we come back. I am so curious. You can't imagine. Back in a moment. I'm Dennis Prager. So Howard, you're an Orthodox Jew, correct?
Yes.
Right. So your rabbi spoke about how bad the riot was. You know, it's interesting. I teach at my synagogue, and we do use Zoom. We're traditional, but we use electricity, and we have convened by Zoom. We've convened in person every single Shabbat, Sabbath, since the lockdown, all year. And I have not once addressed politics. Not once. I spoke about Pharaoh on Saturday, among other things. It is amazing that the rabbi felt it necessary, but I would respect that choice if he'd said the same thing about 6 months of left-wing riots and burnings.
Which is exactly what I said. I'm going to be honest with you. We have not connected to find out what his response to that would be. But I will tell you that I spoke with my brother, who's very involved in the community, a little bit older. He's close with the rabbi. And my understanding was that about 6 months ago, the whole group of Chicago rabbis basically got together, and they said, the whole Black Lives Matter riots and Antifa was too troubling they didn't want to alienate anybody from the community who may be on the other side, on the left, on the progressives. So
and these are, this is the general rabbinate or the Orthodox?
This was, I think it's a group of Orthodox rabbis. I'm not going to say the general rabbinate. I think
the Orthodox rabbinate is afraid of alienating its leftist members?
Of the liberal-leaning members. Look,
yeah. So you know what? Ask them. You'll know what I'm talking about, and then I'll translate it. Ask them if they have more Yiras Hashem or Yiras Small. Do they have more fear of God or fear of the left?
Of course.
That's the question that I would pose. It's very depressing to hear that Orthodox rabbis feel the need to be politically correct. What can I tell you? I'm not surprised when mainstream Protestants, Catholics, and Jews fear the left more than they fear God, but it's very depressing if the traditionalists among those faiths do.